Today, we are going to dive into a source that completely rethinks one of our most basic practices, prayer. What if I told you the most powerful prayer isn't something you say, but something you live? And what if forgiveness isn't something you have to ask for, but something you actually earn through your actions? So let's just start with a really direct question. Picture this. You've done something wrong, you're feeling that weight of guilt, so you go somewhere quiet and you pray for forgiveness. Is that it? Is that enough? Does that prayer by itself actually change anything? Well, the source material we're exploring today makes a pretty bold claim. It says, flat out, that this common way of praying, asking for forgiveness, is totally outdated. It calls it an ignorant prayer. And this sets up a really fascinating clash between an old way of thinking and a brand new one. Okay, so to really get this, we first have to unpack what the source even means by the ignorant prayer of the past. What exactly are we talking about here? It's really this idea of prayer as a transaction. You make yourself small, you plead for help, and you're hoping deep down to get something back in return. Now, the source connects this to a more, let's call it a survival-based past, a time when society was way more hierarchical. And in that kind of world, acting small and servile was actually a necessary strategy to get what you needed from the people in power. But here's the kicker. The argument is that we've moved beyond that kind of world. We're now in what the source calls a human-centric era. And that demands a completely different approach, not just to prayer, but to how we live our lives. And you can really see that shift laid out here. It's a total evolution, right? It's not just about prayer, it's about our entire posture towards the world. We go from kneeling and begging to standing tall and acting, from pleading for forgiveness to living with real dignity. And maybe most importantly, from a life focused on taking from the world to one focused on contributing to it. And this matters because it's all about reframing our own power and our own responsibility. Okay, so if we're not supposed to be begging for stuff, then what's the point? Why even go to a church or a temple or any place of worship? If it's not for asking for things, what is it for? Well, this perspective completely reframes these places. They're not venues for begging. They're more like schools for self-improvement. They're a chance to come together with others to just reflect, to look back at our week, see where we might have messed up, learn from it, and then find the strength to do better going forward. And this all builds to what is, for me, the most powerful and central idea from this material. This idea of prayer not as something you do for a few minutes, but as something you are all the time. The source suggests that we are always communicating with what it calls great nature. Now, you can think of this as the fabric of the universe, cosmic energy, or God, whatever term works for you. The point is, it's not some CEO in the sky we report to. We are an inseparable part of it. And because of that, this great nature doesn't hear our whispered words. It directly experiences our actions in real time. So let's take a simple, really common example of a negative action. You say something unkind about a neighbor or a coworker. You're gossiping. You're putting them down. And here is the core idea. That act of slander is your prayer. It's a direct signal to the universe that says, hey, this is who I am right now. This is the energy I'm putting out into the world. The universe doesn't need to hear your apology later. It already saw and absorbed the action itself. So if our actions are our prayers, what does that do to our whole idea of forgiveness? I mean, if you can't just ask for it, how in the world do you receive it? And this brings us to a situation we have all been in. You know you were wrong, you feel that regret turning inside you, but for whatever reason, maybe it's pride or shame or fear, you just cannot get the words "I'm sorry" out of your mouth. What do you do then? So instead of a verbal apology, the source offers this really practical, almost physical method. First step, just be silent. Stop making excuses. Stop trying to talk your way out of it. Second, adopt a humble posture. Literally change how you carry yourself. And third, just do your work. Fulfill your responsibilities quietly and diligently without any complaint. This sustained change in your behavior, that is your apology. It's a silent but incredibly powerful signal that you recognize your mistake and you're committed to doing better. And the source claims that over time, this action will naturally cause the other person's heart to soften, which creates an opening for real reconciliation to happen. And that's really the whole point, isn't it? True forgiveness isn't some gift you're given just because you pleaded for it. It's the natural result of changing your actions. You earn it through your new behavior. It's a consequence, not a reward. So the ultimate takeaway here is this just profound shift in perspective. Every moment of your life becomes a form of prayer. Everything you do,
Every single action you take is an offering you make to the world.
And that leaves us with a final and pretty challenging thought. Maybe the most sacred space isn't a building at all, but the actual space between you and another person. And maybe your most powerful prayer isn't a word you say, but how you choose to act in that space. So the question is, what offering will you make today?